To start off with squatting, we're going to talk about specific mobility and what that would look like and not look like if you have it or not. So when we squat, one of the things we want to look for is the ability for your hip to go into that flex position. So we need enough space so that your hip can go ahead and go into this massively flex position. So we need space through here. So one of the things we want to have is hip flexor mobility. So we want to be able to have that extended long hip flexor. And one of your hip flexors comes down and crosses your knee. So that will also create space into posterior glide, which we will talk about in a second. Okay, the next thing you're going to want to be able to have to hit depth, you need enough internal rotation of your hip. So you need your femur to be able to internally rotate this way to get to the bottom of a squat. If you don't have internal hip rotation, hitting depth in a squat is going to be very difficult. The next thing you're going to want to be able to have is glute mobility and hamstring mobility to get into this fully extended hip position. So we're like end range hip extension, right? So we're stretched as far as possible. We'll talk about strength to get out of the bottom of a squat in your next video, but that's kind of what we need to have for the basics to get down to the bottom to achieve the depth that you want to achieve. And that's how I assess part of your squat when you meet with me.